Third Street Gamers First Strike qualifiers, but here they are now, and they're fighting for a chance. So second chances and opportunities abound, but the reality is they are facing off against an opponent who's got a lot of history. And sure, they may have made recent changes, but that's only made them better. The addition of Shawn to Gen.G has made them a serious force to be reckoned with. As we get ready to kick things off on the first map in this best of 3 series, it's going to be Ascent with Gen.G starting on the defense.
It's looking from their position that they're looking for something very aggressive for FaZe Clan. With the composition that they have, they're looking for individual plays with Corey, dashes in with BABYBAY as that Jett. Let's see what happens. It starts off with a Lear. There is only one player holding the defense, but it's super passive for MkaeL. He's actually going to go for the shock dart, actually a recon dart, just to try to spot some people around. They're going to play the retake for Gen.G, but the retake, this is going to be fast. They're going to go face to face. Shawn getting the kill onto Corey, breaking the trap wire. Another one just around the corner. That's going to be Marved. Look how much dancing and hopping is happening as Gen.G, they overpower the site. There's only one more player remaining in there. It's going to be ZachaREEE, who only takes one. Shawn going for the second into the round, and that's Gen.G with a quick defuse to win the pistol.
Gen.G with a solid pistol round win to kick things off here in the series. FaZe Clan gets 1 kill, but Shawn and MkaeL 1. Stepping up big, 2 kills apiece for those two. Player 1, a rare LMG buy, not SMG, excuse me, LMG buy on a Cypher, no less. An interesting decision. It's not typically what we would see. Usually that's in the hands of a Sova. So that's a little bit off. But we'll see what player 1 can do with it on the opposite side. Just 2 ghost purchase on the round. It should be a somewhat soft round for Gen.G, as long as they make no major mistakes. You can see them moving fast towards short. Currently, a lot of bodies built up on Catwalk right now. huynh right around the corner. And BABYBAY will be the first one to make contact.
Oh boy.
And huynh actually does great damage. He only gets 2 kills, but that follow-up headshot onto that back-end target will result in a soft and easy kill for Guimon. Now the 2 remaining have scooped up the SMG to work with. And they're now moving that spike up mid.
All right, they heard that camera. And one thing that I found very interesting too for the Ares that was bought by player 1, he was playing it from spawn side. So usually you see, as you said, very weird that it's on a Cypher. You tend to see it, as Sinatra coined it, onto a Sova towards that B ramp. But they're actually using it on the rotation for Cypher instead. Maybe with the recon dart, he could spam it from spawn side because it's usually smoked out. But still, as we have the last 2 players, they were spotted they were spotted indirectly by a camera up on that market side. So that prevented any type of push from FaZe Clan that was trying to go for a flank from the spawn. So they tried to go back from Catwalk, easy picks there. Nothing more you could ask. I mean, it was a very nice hold by huynh up on that Catwalk side. And just getting those kills were good enough here for FaZe Clan to stop them in their tracks. They're going to try to reset. Thankfully, they got the spike down on that first round. So they will be able to go for a very comfortable buy for this team. Full shields, full rifles. And it's looking to be some control towards the A side, at least on that orb first. And we'll see how it develops after, as it seems as though they might try to lurk towards mid as well.
FaZe sitting back on mid. 3 players watching for the A push, peeking towards market as well. They're currently just holding, waiting to see if Gen.G is going to play aggressive. Their whole setup was centered around that. So they had players deep on B, watching for a B push. They had players deep on mid, watching for mid peaks from Cat and from market. And they had players on long A, watching for a push down towards the ult orb. And when they didn't get it, now they move up into a better position. Now Rawkus is going to lead in first with the camera, and it would be wise. Yep, there's huynh with the dash away. The tailwind going to get him out of harm's way. But that's control now. That dart now gives them more control of Catwalk and the ability to try and force fight into the tree room. They've got targets currently built up in B main as well, and that seems to be where they'd like to go. As they dodge the recon dart, they'll use a camera around the corner to make sure that sidewalk is clear. And it's not. What they don't realize is there's a Reyna up on top of the box. Good damage being dealt. They're spamming towards spawn as well. There's a lot of players here. 2 in spawn, 2 in sight. The Reyna now goes back steps and might have the back stab onto BABYBAY, who goes inside the cyber cage to try and escape the threat. But with 20 seconds left, FaZe desperately needs to make a move. Nice Lear out. Himon is there with the trade, but it's fired upon right on back. MkaeL has to go big from backside site, but it doesn't work out. And now the site's been lost, and the spike will be planted with just 8 seconds left. They start the process, and it gets secured with 6 or 5 on the clock. Win. Not really capable of taking that fight at distance. Corey. Subpar hardware was the name of the game. Gen.G had great position, but SMG is not able to net success in the long-range battles with the rifles.
You know what, Bach, the longer and the more that I'm looking at these games at this level now, today, I wouldn't be surprised if you're going to start seeing a nerf from a jumping classic, because it's just ridiculous the amount of times that you see somebody just bunny hop every single time. And, you know, if you're jumping with the mouse wheel down like a lot of these players do, switching over to this game, and you're just right-clicking every single time, you're just rolling that wheel, right-click, and it's so accurate. Even though there was some sort of a nerf that happened earlier on, it's still quite deadly, as a lot of these players are demonstrating right now. And MkaeL, who is in a great position towards the back of the site to try to anchor it down to allow Gen.G to rotate back from the spawn site because they lost a weaker hold on B. He was immediately dispatched with the player moving in. So Gen.G forfeiting that round on the bonus, not doing enough econ damage versus FaZe. Gives FaZe on the attack a chance to really tie things up quite fast and maybe put Gen.G on an eco should they win this one here. And with that Owl drone to start, they at least only spot the Reyna, but that's the only information that they got. They still have a heavy crossfire with huynh playing with the Blade Storm just on the right side, and is actually pushing it with it from the paranoia that came in from the tree side. One was playing towards huynh, and it was BABYBAY who does get the kill onto Shawn. Individual play from the Cloudburst for huynh to move in to get the kill into huynh. The spike is down. Long range with another onto Rawkus. Traded out. It's a 2 versus 2. Empress is forced to be popped out from Corey as well. And it's going to be a battle happening very soon onto the A-main.
Game on catches Corey off guard with the spike. It gets tumbled down just in front of the default spot. ZachaREEE now has to come through the door, and MkaeL has an angle that is difficult to deal with. Gen.G recover off the back of some strong knife work from huynh. So they lost that first full buy round. They fire right on back. And now huynh got the op in play. The money is kind of weird, but look at this. Up into the air off the back of the paranoia, and then a quick right click in here. This is the impressive kill. Long range headshot coming out from the knives. Boop. Couldn't survive in the end against Corey, but still great work from huynh.
Oh yeah. Definitely there. Putting on our 2 versus 2. There was still something that was salvageable, though, as Corey popped that Empress. But I think he went a little bit too fast. There was still some time left on the clock. You were still trying to get ZachaREEE to move forward. And we've seen how good ZachaREEE has been and how better he's become as a player, as a Cypher too. He's been really good with the Sheriff. He's been very good and on point with the fragging department for FaZe. He's brought his numbers up in that direction as well. But they were in a position where they could have met up and worked together into the site. But there were both situations of 2 versus 1, off angles, not knowing where the positioning of Gen.G was, and it made it a lot easier for Gen.G to hold their defense. But this round, though, Corey is going to get the first blood, much needed for FaZe, as you already have BABYBAY moving forward, and huynh never saw that coming. Picked off here on the balcony. Corey with a second kill, at the bottom of the generator. And that's going to be an open site. Last 2 players already curling away with the tails. Their tails being curled out, and they're running away to save their weapons. And that's FaZe Clan. Much needed round. Looking possibly to be a flawless here. And a big round for them to win.
FaZe. Clap back. You know, they lose that first full buy round. They win the first full buy round, lose the round that follows, and they return fire, you know?
Yeah.
So not willing to surrender control early. Now MkaeL does pick one off, trying to thin the herd, make it cost a little bit more money for FaZe. FaZe might be tempted to go for the hunt here. You can see them starting to lean in that direction. Shawn's waiting right around the corner. And in the Reyna battle, Corey ends up coming out on top. But it'll be MkaeL from distance who's trying to survive just a little while longer. His target disappears as the round comes to a full end. Gen.G survives with only 1 rifle, and you can see why the hunt was wise. Look at the money left that currently remains for Gen.G. They don't have anything to fall back on. And if you remember not that long ago, they relied on huynh knife work with the ult. He's nowhere near building that back up, so that's not a possibility. So MkaeL might be responsible for sending that rifle around. As each one gets picked off, the goal is going to be to go back and grab the op and try, or the rifle and do some additional damage. We'll see if that's going to be the case. Player one with just a sheriff over here on A main has to be careful as BABYBAY's in position with the op, and after the peek comes through that takes out his camera, he realizes probably not worth it, but he's again advancing just a little bit further, and BABYBAY's got a line of sight on that one. And off the bat, Gen.G not able to do too much. Shawn did find one kill. Magazine runs dry for Marved, has to switch to the classic. It's a nice little 4K for Marved, some eco frag, sure, but pads the stats just a bit as we tie things up at 3 apiece.
So the operator picked up there by BABYBAY from the hands of huynh before pays into fruition at the A main control. That's something that could be dangerous right now for Gen.G as the economy is still looking to get built up to try to put another op into the hands of huynh if they wanted to. But you're starting to see like a matchup like for Corey on for Gen.G seems to be fitting his playstyle, his character of like moving very aggressively and getting the first bloods. That was something that wasn't very common when we casted them playing versus TSM earlier on in this tournament, where they were able to shut down Corey quite many times when Corey was playing on the attacker. We saw a lot of first bloods happening from Corey when he was playing defense, but in the attack, he wasn't as fruitful for FaZe as we wanted him to be. That said, though, they still lose one player early into the round. They are still trying to get some sort of map control because the first player that they lost was back mid. So they have nothing to work with yet. They still are looking to reassess, and it's the entrance to the B side. They're still working with the unknown because they're just trying to body peek, and they have nothing left to work with to try to get into any of the sites. Hopefully, maybe with the Cloud Burst, instead of using that as an individual play for BABYBAY, he could maybe help the team get into the site. But it's going to be the lurk play instead of ZachaREEE crouching under the market to take the control first, and they want to focus on taking control of the Counter-Strike of the defender spawn before they can make it into B.
Tisk tisk. Cardinal sin, Van Silly.
It's still there from time to time.
Buy more skin packs and you can redeem yourself. It's 5-on-4 currently, but FaZe, they have control of the B site despite the fact that
Spike planted.
They have a player disadvantage. Now the door is shut and MkaeL's realizing, well, that sucks. Not really much I can do with my owl drone except clear out mid. And it's clear. At least that lets them know that they can move up in the market with no fear. There's the door going down. The Hunter's Fury being popped by the attacking side. It's Rawkus from the boathouse, and some good damage being dealt down range. Now Shawn's in spawn. There's the tailwind to get out of there. Finally, the action picks up as they start to move their way out onto the site. ZachaREEE from Cubby has found two. Shawn trying to get into a better spot, but can't. And now these pulses coming out from the Hunter's Fury reduces everything down to just one. MkaeL was attached to spawn while sending out those long lightning shots. Couldn't push in with the rest of the team, and maybe that's for the best as MkaeL barely survives. A fourth round on the board for FaZe. They've stolen the lead away from Gen.G.
The retake play was fully denied there for FaZe. They're looking very good on this attacker side. 4 rounds out of 7. You could definitely be happy of their success on the attack so far. But with the spike down already at spawn, they're going to waste some precious time if they don't pick it up right away. And there you go, Marv is already running back. But it's going to be a late take on this mid side as they're crossing over because they already have possession and they're trying to take control of A. They're going to meet up and maybe try to explode towards this A site. But look at Gen.G. They're stacked 4 players. They're on an eco. Shawn gets the first kill. Will they decide to fall back, especially with that hat? That's going to be the red light that stops the traffic and lets FaZe Clan reassess towards this round. Moving back towards mid, though. We're about to peek out on Catwalk. MkaeL falls down.
I know exactly.
But at least they managed to make it a 4 versus 4. They reset things a bit. They know where the stack is coming from. And they have their own neuro theft. Let's just run back to B. That's an easy plant.
A lot of utility dump, though, here from FaZe, all things
Spike
considered.
planted.
So they use a neural theft and Empress. Despite facing off against a somewhat soft buy from Gen.G, because of how they ran into a trap, the Empress was neutralized, and the neural theft was necessary to figure out where these players were going to be positioned. Now that's good timing and coordination from FaZe. The Owl gives away the position, but the peek comes through from B main by Corey. And luckily, that Jett is nowhere near the site as huynh is across the map in spawn, as everyone from FaZe has vacated the presence of the spike. And huynh just hoping that he can survive with a lowly Spectre, maybe rip a Phantom or a Vandal away from someone on
that's
FaZe.
the plan. Especially with the spike just going off, he's got 5 seconds to act. He's already pushing out, gets the kill. That's perfect. Can he get the Vandal? He will. Oh! Okay, he does. And that's actually a great upgrade there for huynh. Despite him only getting 1,000 credits to be able to upgrade from a Spectre over to a Vandal, it's a little bit different with the economy with the credits. I mean, as you the reset happens into the round itself, not into that open freeze time that you have in the 5-6 seconds before you switch rounds. So he's able to get that kill, upgrade to a Vandal. So that was a great investment in the end to gamble to save his weapon. That allows Gen.G to have 1 weapon out of this round. For the rest of Gen.G, seems to be a very low pistol going on their side too. Unless it did buy at this point. I'm just looking through the X-ray, but FaZe Clan nonetheless are still looking very good. Yes, it was a Nico that they won against, but still getting 5 rounds now on the attacker side.
I have the spike.
Not really much happening here in the early round.
It's a buy here. Yeah.
huynh again in a similar position he's been in before on Cat. This time, though, tries to deal with the Owl drone. Now, the advantage is that Shawn is the backup, and Shawn, unfortunately, has to send some shots out, and now is going to use the Leer to try to escape. Has to dodge the shot from the AWP and successfully does so. But that more advanced position on Cat doesn't work out so well for Gen.G. Camera's been taken down in market. Door's been destroyed by FaZe.
Spike dropped.
There's 2 players on the site and 1 now starting to move away from Garden and come back around and spawn. That'll be Shawn, who's in position with the Phantom. But it's really up to the Cypher and the Sova on site.
Left.
They were trying to deal with the tripwire. Couldn't quite get an angle on it. They end up baiting player 1 out of position anyway. So MkaeL has to pop off here from backside side. Good dink shot coming out from the Phantom. A nice follow-up as well. There's still 2 players moving into position. There's the ult being popped by Jett. The knives come out, but they're not connecting. MkaeL still alive. Now the spike has to be dedicated as there's only 7 seconds left. And now they pulled him off of it, and not much can be done. Well played by Gen.G to get back into the site, but it's MkaeL who is the glue that holds that round together for Gen.G.
Definitely. Everybody was so focused on trying to take down MkaeL in the back of that bolt house. And as it continue to fail, especially with the Blade Storm that comes out to bait out MkaeL, and the second one couldn't even go in for the kill for FaZe. He just did a great job, just anchor it down, and even getting a kill on top of that, maybe 2 kills before he fell down too, getting a couple dinks as well, really weakening the site on B on that take versus FaZe, making it super easy for Gen.G to retake that 2 versus 1. And you saw it with the time remaining. You saw that they were pushing up against him. It was going to be a round loss no matter what, but with the amount of rounds that FaZe Clan already won, they're okay to not get the spike plan and try to maybe win some sort of a lucky 2 versus 1 in the end around the boxes. And we've seen a lot of those plays from other matches from other teams. There's a lot of nice highlight reels by playing around those boxes on B, but it didn't come into favor of FaZe Clan. Gen.G is able to take that one. It's a 5-4 scoreline.
It's the calm before the storm right now. It's just quiet. A few shots raining out in the distance, but nothing really happening. Not quite as slow on the pace as the T1 game was at times. Again, something that they do really well is just that slow, methodical approach. But FaZe is certainly taking their time, excuse me. Now, huynh picks off ZachaREEE, but that was the lurk across the map. Now they're trying to move in towards this A site. There's a big fat paranoia coming out, but 1 sent in response from the other side. Now they're trying to shut the door. BABYBAY is looking to do some damage with the AWP sending shots through the wall, but it's not going to connect. Shock dart right on the money. And that's Corey going down inside the site. Now they still haven't managed to try to get that spike down as there's no safety. And BABYBAY, I don't think he even realized he had the spike as he went up vertical with the AWP and tried to take a fight as the cyber cage was down. Yeah, there you go. He's tossing it away, saying, "This is yours.
10 seconds left.
BABYBAY trying to hold down Heaven. That's where everyone's coming from, as Gen.G has almost all of their forces in that area. 4 players up there, 1 coming through Garden, and that's going to be the Reyna. Shawn picking off Marved, bringing everything down to BABYBAY, who's currently in hell with an AWP, and yeah, good luck getting out of that one. Missed shots were not necessarily the problem. It was just a well-played collapse from Gen.G as they all cave in on the site to make it impossible for FaZe to hold. 5 apiece. We find ourselves tied up yet again.
Yeah, it's still a very nice display of patience for Gen.G for that retake too. Just seeing how stressful it was from the point of view as a fan looking at BABYBAY into the top of the heaven, you're like wondering, oh, when is that player actually going to peek out towards that heaven side where BABYBAY could finally make it easier for FaZe Clan to hold the site. But time kept ticking. They waited for the cloud burst to come through as well from huynh to allow them to actually get into the site. At the end, BABYBAY was able to get the kill, but already you have 3 players exploding right behind to be able to trade it out, and Gen.G just played it well as a group to retake the B side. And there wasn't really anything flashy out of that too. They just ran to set up for trades with players sticking with each other to get those kills. So to tie it up 5-5, things are looking okay here for Gen.G. Still though, I still believe that this is a strong half for FaZe Clan, and I like this from player one. He's not going to hit the camera, because as you don't spot it, he could just let it know, and they use the owl drone on top of that too, so they think they're still going to focus on that. The camera's going to look back after. This allows MkaeL to try to get a couple of tags. There's that first one to ZachaREEE, but cannot get the kill. Meanwhile, they have lost a player as huynh was trying to get an off kill towards A main. Another one to fall as Corey was lurking towards Catwalk, so you have the attempt of a retake only on the players inside B, and it works out. Player one going with the classic burst. Rawkus to fall. The spike has been dropped on the sidewalk. Corey forced once again to pop the Empress and try to clutch a 3 versus 2 with his teammate. Now moving inside the site, that camera that they never broke at the beginning of the round now spots the Omen Marved at the defender spawn too, so they know exactly where the last 2 players are coming down from. At the staircase, Marv is looking down. Empress coming back here from Shawn. Corey onto that sidewalk. But that Empress is about to dissipate on the attacker side for FaZe. With 26 seconds left on the clock, they still get the openings. It's now turned into a 1 versus 1 where Corey gets the 4K for the round and saves the round for FaZe Clan.
Corey, how does that happen? That round should not have come together for FaZe, but it does, and Gen.G is disappointed after some great work from player one, just cementing himself in the back of sight. I don't think they realized that he was still in that position because he just waited. It was such patient play coming in from their Cypher. But ultimately, the way that FaZe times it, coming downstairs and up sidewalk and catching one off guard back behind the default stack, that was the opening kill that kind of tipped things in their favor. And then on top of that, Corey picks the player off in Boathouse. It all just sort of fell apart there for Gen.G. So a disappointing end to that round. huynh not able to connect. Can't really blame him. The target was all over the place. BABYBAY rocking the shotty, coming up short. It's the judge. Shawn's right around the corner. Has to be careful. We'll see if BABYBAY goes for the traditional tailwind to dash in. Here comes the play. There's the dash in off the flash. It's a nice kill that comes out, but they don't know there's still one on short. Now BABYBAY has made it too far up, so Shawn's position is meaningless. Ultimately taken out by Corey in the site because they allowed BABYBAY pass without really knowing what had happened due to the flash. Not much could be done. FaZe has recovered in this half and taken the lead away from Gen.G, closing things out 7-5.
Switching sides.
And that last round, it was really well executed towards short.
FaZe is looking good today. I don't think necessarily it's because of that shakiness of Gen.G. You know, that debate, is it going to be that that nice Gen.G that we see as a top 4 finisher since the beta? The Gen.G that we saw that dismantled Sentinels with an asterisk during the open qualifiers, or at least the closed qualifiers against Sentinels. What Gen.G kind of shows up in this UMG closed qualifier, and I still think that it's a very good Gen.G, but FaZe looks a lot better than when I watched them play versus TSM just a few days ago. And now on the attacker side, you see that players that need to frag, such as Corey and BABYBAY, they are putting the numbers up. But when they don't, ZachaREEE was still pretty low, but he still has that lurk play for the team. He could still have that opportunity to open things up for FaZe Clan as well. So Gen.G's looking at a tight spot. They have to step it up a little bit more to try to bring this to a closer game, especially now on the attacker side.
Good fast play. At least it seemed like that's what we were going to get, as Gen.G was positioned in A main, but they never actually made it out of A main. So a lot of shooting and utility use, but not much comes of it. Minor damage dealt, just scrapes and bruises. An owl drone will spot Corey on short. He'll take it out without receiving a dart in the stomach. Nice distance shots, though, coming out from Gen.G to get a dink and a follow-up. Likely to recommit on A. You can see the build-up currently inside A main, where you've got 3 players still playing defense, but one of them is somewhat loose. That would be their Sova, who's sitting back now inside tree. Quinn will be the first one in as they dive out onto the site. Quinn puts the Cloudburst down, uses it for cover. BABYBAY and Marved, they'll come up with big kills. BABYBAY sneaking through the smoke, and it's all come down to 1. It's player 1 on the site. Spike being planted, sure.
Planted.
But this is a tough 2-on-1. 55 HP for the Cypher. Trying to escape and get into hell. He's been spotted out by the camera. They know where he's at. Has to go for the burst fire jump shot. But at that point, they're already waterfalling over the edge. FaZe picks up the pistol as Gen.G just couldn't quite get onto that A site cleanly.
Yeah. It's another one of those for Gen.G where they really focus a lot of their resources going into the A main with following up on a dash from huynh to get into the site. Hopefully they open up the site, get a plant, and then they play pretty much turtled in there or playing it from the A main. But what misses out from that is the fact that they don't have anybody playing to take control on a catwalk on a split too. So even if they get into the site, the worst part is that they're not able to get any kills. So in the end, the 2 players that will rotate back from the catwalk side, they just have open season for the rest of the players, just looking for a better place on the post-plant positioning on like a 5 versus 3, a 4 versus 3. And Gen.G don't have the numbers to work with in such a chaotic round, I guess, for how they execute into the site. You wanted to have some sort of opening from the way huynh dashed into there, but play more passively at the hell side, it worked. And here's a round where you have an Ares once again, and it's playing towards the spawn. I think this is quite normal to see now. As I said, when it's not going to be at that wall on that sidewalk, playing it from the spawn side, just because you get Omen smokes that can come in towards the spawn. If you have a recon dart that comes back towards that wall, or a camera, for example, you could just spray through the wall in an off angle and get those kills still versus the players pushing into the site. So I kind of see the idea now of getting that Ares on second round and playing at a different spot.
Our carrier is dead.
Pickoffs happening from FaZe currently as they're just in position surrounding Gen.G. A stranglehold as Gen.G gets trapped in mid.
One enemy remaining.
And it's down to just Shawn. FaZe getting aggressive, and it's paying off in dividends. Now Shawn,
30
from
seconds
distance,
left.
does get dropped down to 2 HP, but you wouldn't know because of the self-heal coming in. One of Reyna's most powerful pieces of the toolkit. Back up to 100 HP. BABYBAY sitting around the corner, very low on health. This is somewhat winnable. Oh, this angle. This angle. Oh, this is so awkward. Corey was in a position where if Shawn had walked that, there's a possibility for a freebie. But he goes for the leap out onto the site due to the amount of time left in the round, has to get that spike down and gets spotted out and sprayed down by the LMG.
So in the end, a forced buy from Gen.G doesn't pay off for them on the attack. So they're going to be in a position to have to play with Sheriffs. But I've seen Shawn before with the Sheriff. This could still be very doable for the team. But from the way that they're positioned, where they really want to try to maybe rush and take control early towards this A side, it could be a very tough one. Especially now with the one way, you have one hiding towards huynh, and that's going to be Marved. I think they should give this up now. And as they're still pushing it, BABYBAY uses that one way to his advantage, but it gets quickly traded out by player 1. Marv trying to push forward on a 1 versus 1 instead, and huynh punishes him for that. That's 2 weapon upgrades, an open site, a weaker site, and if they decide to push if they want to, the thing is though, there's a smoke coming in from the attacker side to cover up the sliding door, and a nice shot from huynh, dashing into the site. They're looking for the plant.
huynh with the dirty shot out of the Sheriff. That gives Gen.G the opening they needed to get onto the site. Now they're just securing the plant. Rawkus moving in, sliding across. Has the recon dart to give away positions. Wants to start spamming away with the LMG. And we'll start sending some shots down in that direction. But he's tucked now in the corner, and his teammate has changed spots. Still though, Rawkus is finding his way out of this position. The Owl drone to come through to try and spot out the remaining players' positions.
Right.
We'll pick one off with dart down in hell, and up the spam. Somehow it wasn't where it needed to be. Corey has to peek out and finish him off. It's now huynh who's found 3 on the round with the Sheriff, and Rawkus is in sight with an unideal weapon. huynh pops off with the Sheriff. That's 4 kills on the round as Gen.G finds number 6, and it's all thanks to the Jett main win.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. is what huynh would be saying with the people in the chat for sure. After some beautiful entries from the Jett, usually operator, but this time, as I would like to call usually in a different game, a silver op. It is definitely going to be the sheriff operator for a win for that one. But you got to also think the teamwork that was played for Gen.G. It was a little bit iffy when I saw that Ares peek continuous spray into that boxes where I don't think it was necessary for the peek. They were still able to put a perfect trap wire to actually catch Corey when it was jumping in from heaven into the generator side that allows huynh to get that third kill. So very nice eco here for Gen.G. Like I said, I thought it was going to be a very tough one for them to take, especially with the smoke. But as soon as that dissipated and they got the long range control on their side, man, Gen.G took advantage of that for sure. So a nice eco back here as they're taking control on the A side with the Owl drone, but still a very slow-paced play for them, while the rest of FaZe kind of looking for mid control up on Catwalk.
Go.
Gen.G trying to reduce the lead that FaZe Clan has built up after huynh put on his try-hard pants and carried them to that last round win. They've now got everything you'd want. All the rifles and the accoutrement of a typical successful round. And they're going to be leading in with that same player, huynh. Last time it was a sheriff, this time
30 seconds
it's a
left.
hailstorm of knives. And they've gained access to the site with really no fight from FaZe. The only player really here was Corey, and he's taking significant damage through that open door on short. So he's now down sub 50 HP. The rest of the team trying to come in through heaven. The recon dart might give away some positions if it lasts long enough, but we'll see what ends up happening here on the retake. This is somewhat difficult for Gen.G to actually lose. They just have to play this one carefully. Corey with a quick shot onto Shawn after picking up one, but it's Imon who actually goes nuts and finds 3 kills on the round. MkaeL picking off the last one. huynh pulled the knives out, but really didn't do too much for the team as everyone else surrounded him.
Well,
the site.
He became that support player after, although that cloud burst kind of missed on the recard dart that went towards the air. I like the idea that he just wanted to cover it, covers a spike, plays inside the smoke, counting on his teammates right after that, that hopefully if that recon dart was actually covered, they could still hold the better angles for Gen.G as the rest of FaZe are running through. And although it wasn't covered, they still ran into the site, they still had the better positioning. And if all else fails, with that clock ticking down on that spike, if he gets a close right click in the end, he becomes the clutcher and could actually win by time for Gen.G on that point. But FaZe Clan were on an eco. They were looking for some sort of retake, the same type of style that Gen.G kind of did, but they want to use it on the defender side where they wanted to win with the sheriff buy, but it didn't pay out for that team. And now they're finally going to get the weapons needed, but it's going to be a push from Gen.G that opens up inside the site. A Hunter's Fury also to open up towards tree side, but once again, that's another push inside A. This time it was tried to be met by opposition, but it got ran over by Gen.G's push.
Revealing area.
Gen.G looking really strong here on the attack the last few rounds. They were revitalized after that big round from huynh.
Spike planted.
And they'll get the spike down, and you can see from the positioning, FaZe is not going for this. They have no intentions of putting an effort towards this site. They are setting up as far away as they can possibly get from it. Now, Rawkus has to be careful. We've seen players die in mid to spike plants on A before. If they're just a little too close, and depending on the spike plant position that comes in. But he's going to nestle up currently in the corner and just try to set up for some exit kills. That's what the rest of the team is doing as well, just playing it safe. Even Reyna, who's way back in spawn. I'd love to see the angle currently. Yeah, I was going to say through that fence. It looks like they're tucked in a safe corner because of the lines on the minimap. It's not.
Yeah.
So Corey is actually heavily exposed, does have the dismiss to try and get back behind the pillar that's there to the left. That's if anyone even goes into spawn. But Gen.G knows these players could be sitting here, so what's the point?
Really for him is just to try to stay alive. They invested a lot into the round for FaZe, right? They had an operator, they had a Vandal, it was a full gun round. They wanted to use the op on the defender side, but it still cannot be met or matched by how aggressive Gen.G is taking advantage of the A side. And I kind of like this from Gen.G so far, actually, because in the past when I've watched Gen.G play on this map of Ascent, it was a lot of, hey, let's smoke towards spawn market and have huynh dash towards the shed and looking to B. And they kept getting red, so now they're trying something different, and it's just continuously abusing towards the A side that pays off in their favor. And BABYBAY trying to retaliate this time, but cannot connect with the first kill. Forced back into position, but the orb control now comes in favor of Gen.G. They could still try to explode later on towards the A side too, but FaZe Clan, noticing how many times that they've been attacked towards the A side, really stack up towards that site, while they have two players pushing towards B main. The thing is now, B is open and weak on the market side. They could actually even use the Omen to shadow step over the trapwire to even go for a flank if they wanted to, but it seems as though the Omen decides to fall back as they want to go for the pinch and pincer into A.
It is a very quiet round. After the early damage that was dealt onto the Cypher, things have really slowed down and
Oh, this
calm.
is big. Yeah.
But here is the play. They're going to be trying to go into this A site. Nice Lear to push them out. That kind of sticks BABYBAY in a really awkward position. Now Shawn gets taken down almost immediately, and they're looking for the last target. They can't find huynh. Somehow huynh survives for a little while and almost made that one a little bit scary. But FaZe finds their footing and survives with 2 players up. Finds double-digit rounds on the scoreboard as well. Corey's having one hell of a game. 20 and 11 currently from the Reyna, playing for FaZe Clan. On the opposite end, if you look at the plus-minus distribution from the top 4, it's pretty even. Player 1 having a bit of a rough game, but so is ZachaREEE on the other side. The Cypher's just not working out well here on Ascent.
Although that last round, I still like what they did. ZachaREEE, maybe he didn't get a kill, but the push that they had towards that B main that we're looking at right now, he puts the camera up on that link. That even on top of that kill that he got on Catwalk, with that camera, with the trapwire towards mid, they knew the attack was going to happen towards the A site for Gen.G one more time. So you already saw all of them rotating towards the A site, stacked up towards that area, where Gen.G was probably a full surprise. And I don't know how it happened that Gen.G was still able to get 3 kills out of all that chaotic round in the stack from FaZe. They almost got in their favor, but FaZe Clan definitely got the surprise factor on their side of the defense to put it 10-8.
Yeah, I want to make sure that I'm saying this too. You know, Cyphers aren't necessarily responsible for finding multiple kills. It's not in their makeup. They're like a breach. Their setup is to be a support. So
Correct.
I don't want to necessarily put that emphasis out there. Corey with a great pickoff onto huynh to slow down the push. BABYBAY with verticality from the top rope, but it's Shawn through the smoke to deck BABYBAY. Iman has picked up a kill as well. Now, there's a dark cover down, and Corey's inside it. Site's been lost, but this is still a 2-on-3 in favor of FaZe. It's going to come down to Guimon, who's in a big position. Has to find at least one. He can't leave the Cypher alone in sight. Player 1 cannot fight alone from sight. So the support has to come from this Omen.
So much.
And this is going to make it hard. They don't clear it. Oh, no, he shot it. If he didn't shoot it, maybe that goes differently.
Yeah.
But he shot it thinking it was going to spin back. It's an understandable play. Now player 1 is really stuck in a very difficult scenario. And you can see exactly what's coming his direction. Flying in is the Omen. Not much can be done. 11 rounds will go on the scoreboard for FaZe. You got to ask yourself, what if? How would that have been different potentially? The thing is, there's still a player in B main. He's still going to peek and spot him to a certain extent, so there's still that 1v1. But the shots give away the position. It gives the advantage to Marved, who was coming through from B main.
There was still, yeah, exactly. There was still so much that was still in favor of the kit for FaZe on that retake, because even if the Aldrone turned around and saw him, one's a tag, Marv is going to peek, and even if Marv doesn't get a kill, because literally Marv is still alive, he can even smoke towards the market, and it could really focus towards pushing player 1 inside the boathouse. A very difficult hold, very difficult decision to make in the position of where, I think it was MkaeL, right, in that spot, or was it Guimon? No, it was Guimon as the Omen himself. It was a very difficult decision that he had to make, and he opted for the one where, you know, maybe he might have been discovered, had to shoot it out, but that definitely was the fallout. He had to be the big player, but FaZe Clan did a great job without using really bodies to peek first and using the utilities instead to get that advantage on their side, to get the round was very good.
All right, we have a pause coming in here as Gen.G. We all predicted a 2-0. We thought that this was going to be Gen.G's easy march into first strike. But FaZe, this is the FaZe we've wanted to see. This is the FaZe we saw promise in when they first debuted this roster. And we're like, okay, this is just the beginning. Things are definitely going to get better from here. But then they just kind of flatlined. They plateaued. They didn't push beyond that level. Now, sure, this is a small sample. This is just one map. So we can't get ahead of ourselves and say, FaZe is here, they're legit. But they're playing a little bit better than I think any of us expected them to. But there's still obviously 2 more maps in the series. And Gen.G still has a very deep and diverse map pool. They're very skilled. They have a lot of experience as well. Sure, the recent roster change has changed things. Yeah, that's true. Potential 2 maps. You know, the recent addition of Shawn may have changed things a little bit, but the core is still there. And if anything, I'd say some of the pieces of the roster have gotten so much better. When they first started playing, you know, huynh was not necessarily uninspiring. It was just, I felt like there was something missing. And huynh has really come alive as a Jett. Very reminiscent of Skadoodle in that aspect. Just felt like something wasn't clicking.
Yeah.
And since then, it has. And huynh has really stepped up his performance as a whole.
Yeah, and somebody that's stepping up too as a whole is definitely the FaZe Clan team so far. I mean, it looked a little bit rocky at the beginning when they needed to get their money right, but now that it is, FaZe Clan is definitely showing a lot of dominance on the defender side where they might be able to take this first map. And like you said, it might definitely contradict our 2-0 for Gen.G, but there's still a potential of 2 more maps. But even if FaZe, man, they win this one here off, it's their map pick too. The other one coming up is going to be Haven, so we will have Haven no matter what as that second map. And it could still be a toss-up for these 2 teams. We'll talk about that a little bit later as it's time to focus on this current round with Gen.G looking to work back towards the A side, but BABYBAY off in from the wine, connects and dashes away, goes with a second with his own cloud burst, and now as he's running away, he does have support from Marved, drop it in from heaven to get another kill, and he gets that second one into the round. Guimon will fall, and they only lose 1 player in the process. Now at map point for FaZe Clan, a tactical pause probably that came in for Gen.G that didn't pay off for them, unfortunately.
Marved stepping up big in that last round. BABYBAY hitting his stride as well on the defense. This is something we've talked about, though, and it's something we really notice on this map. Attacking ops on Ascent just feels really weird. It never seems to click. So his number is definitely improving now on the defense, finding better positions, putting himself in an advantageous spot.
Get out of my way!
Here's the play.
Here it comes.
The ult's
That's a
been
dash
used.
over the shed.
huynh has got the knives out. He's got the dash ready over top of the shed, like you said, but it's actually Shawn to pick up the kill. That leaves him kind of floundering. He was hoping to get the knife kill so he could continue with that play, but player 1 picking up kill after kill to make sure that things are solidified here.
And at least it left him a gun too, right? He's like, oh no, I have a pistol, no knives, what do I do? But there was a gun on the ground, he picks it up. Marv looks for a couple of exits if he can. He gets the first kill, but that was a great entry there for Gen.G. The typical play that, as I mentioned, it was something that's very common for how they want to attack the B side, where the amount of times that they try to hit towards the A side, finally it got stopped. Let's go back into something that's still available in our playbook, and it's trying to surprise them back on that B site, and it worked out. So now we're trying to throw the op away, so I like that from Rawkus. Marv is still looking for entries. He's getting pinged down at the same time. They still want to make this very expensive, and we'll see if they're going to be able to.
One player remaining.
Nope.
That was actually a great bait and switch peek. So you saw the barrel come out on the early corner, and then the wide peek from a deeper player just kind of caught him off guard, and he ends up splitting him like field goal posts. So
or a 2-7 in bowling.
The upright, yeah, it's not an ideal scenario for one to find themselves in at all. We've got FaZe Clan with a 3-round lead. Gen.G still fighting. The money for FaZe is not exactly stellar. You can see even now they're putting together the buy. BABYBAY is going to favor the knives. They only need to win 1 round, but Gen.G only need to win 3. And it's really not that crazy to think that they could do it. So there's the ult being popped by BABYBAY, a similar play to what we saw earlier from Skadoodle in the T1C9 series. Just aggressively pushing down mid, and a couple of knives into the belly of the Omen. There you go. Finally, took him a bit of time, but Guimon really couldn't do much. Got caught leaping as he goes around the corner. That's a follow-up for player 1 that finds 2. And the advantage that FaZe was hoping to find early with BABYBAY's ult has been taken away.
You were just hoping that that kill was a little bit more immediate, where you get the upper hand there with Guimon jumping out. But player 1 is able to salvage that round, at least at the beginning for Gen.G, so they're going to recuperate now towards the front B side. The neural theft that was thrown out kind of gave some positions away where Gen.G decides to work back towards that B main. For a split second, they were able to open up the B side, but a rotation comes back from Marved and also from ZachaREEE at the market, at the staircase, default spots, but they still have a Sova. So if they dart out towards that tree, that could spot Marv. You already see it from the X-ray. He's aiming at the tree just in case it gets shot, but they're not using it. They're using huynh to creep instead. Left. He's going to have the first shot, but Marv answers back. The waffle crosshair does not pay off as ZachaREEE answers one of his own, and they even it up on a 2 versus 2. 20 seconds left on the clock. You still have one in the back of the site. That's Marved, the second of the round. Dashing out, going into his own smoke as MkaeL gets the kill, and it's going to be a Sova on Sova. Now he gets pinged out. The spray comes through. He will get the spike planted, and he does have a Hunter's Fury to work with. Rawkus trying to move down. Smoke dissipates. He gets the first shot, the first kill, and the only kill needed to put FaZe Clan on a 1-0 in the series over Gen.G with a 13-9 on the scoreline on Ascent.
Defenders win.
Well, we're already wrong, but it's okay. FaZe Clan steps up with the big win here in map number 1. As you said, they take the series over Gen.G. We're going to throw things to a quick break, and when we come back, we'll be jumping into map number 2. Stay tuned.